Welcome, guys. Are we live? Okay, welcome so much. Thank you so much for coming. And we're going to do mostly lecture tonight. This one, computer maintenance, you got the papers in front of you. You can follow along with the screens there and take the notes that make the most sense to you from what I'm saying. Let's open with a word of prayer and then jump in and see how we can save ourselves some money and make our computers last as long as we can. And then when they stop working, then we get rid of them, I guess, completely. But I'm still holding out hope for that last laptop that I swapped out. I just won't be using it for presentations anymore. Let's go ahead and ask God to bless this night. Holy Father, thank you so much for today. Thank you for helping me find ways where I don't think there is a way and making things work when there are sometimes issues and troubles going on. I thank you for helping me make it through things when they're tough and not just leaving me stranded. You're a good Father. I ask for your blessings tonight on our lesson, that I would speak clearly, that it would be understood, and that it would help people take care of their systems to make them last longer and to make them run better and to keep them safe too. Thank you so much for tonight, and ask you to be with those that aren't with us tonight. Thank you so much for watching over them. Just bless their lives and bless this class. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. All right, computer maintenance. Think before we actually start computer maintenance, let's go over quickly how to get into a live meeting. Like right now, we're streaming online on YouTube, and we actually have a link in our emails where you could click in and watch the class from your home and actually participate. So if you can't make it in, you have the opportunity to join in and watch the presentation, listen to the class, also ask questions. Typically we'll have somebody moderating, but Jen went home, we're not doing that tonight. But you can also, the YouTube isn't great right now, we're still experimenting, but it will get there. Just like everything, we tend to refine it as we go and find ways that make sense and help other people learn. So it will change a little bit. There are a couple ways to get the information that you need for our class. The main place to go is our website. And at one point you had asked us about, Nelson, about going to the main website for the church, I believe, right? And there is a way to do that, actually. Let me pull it up for you. The main church website is westparkbaptist.org, and you may be familiar with it. Let me see if I load this in here and make it easier to. All right, so I believe now I've got, yes, okay. So I've got a bigger cursor where we can see things, but this is our web address, right, where we type things in. In a web browser, you just go to westparkbaptist.org. And when you get there, you see Pastor Sam's face, which is nice, and then you see our phrase of what our mission marching orders are: to love God, love people, and impact the world. And that's one thing that we try to do here is impact the world, helping people with their tech lives, right? Because it's kind of hard navigating them sometime. But when we get in here, and I'm going to try to zoom in if we can. I think I forgot how, let me see if I remember this. Maybe I can't do it that. Oh, got it. There we go. Before I was just marking the screen, you know. There we go. So now I can minimize, right? And we'll just, we'll do this one here. We'll take it down too. And I'm going to try to do it this way. Oop, like this. I'm going to change it so it's easier to see, all right? Display settings. We're going to change this one, I think. Display settings, all right. And on this one, I'm going to change it to the highest or lowest setting I can put it at, which I believe is 800 by 600. There we go. Keep that. Now when you see it, you'll see, let's see here. Yeah, there we go. So now it's a little easier to read, right? We got our tab. You can't see the whole page because it's so big and blown up, but at least we can see what's going on here. And what we're going to do is look at the menu. If you're on a phone, it will look a lot like this, where you have a menu in the top center, right? And you drop down, you look down. We're under Community Care Ministries, right? And when we click on that, you'll see it goes to a list of them. And we're under, let's see here. Wait, where's that? Is that a different one? Community Care. Oh, right here. There's a little drop down here. And then it says Adult Education. That's what we're under. And we have the HiSET GED training, and we have Computer Tech for Life. And the nice thing is that this little register button has a little email there. You can send it, the phone number at the church. But if you click on that, the register button, it actually takes you to our website. So I didn't think that was before because it said register, but this is where you can get all the information. Any changes up to minute, they're going to be on this site. When you get there, you can scroll down and you can check the schedule on the left for our classes, right? And notice that every other one we're doing right now is online only. Just because gas prices are so high, and we're trying to slow it down so that people that have questions have a little more time to ask them, try it out, and then ask them the next week, right? So whatever you learn today, try it out this next week. If you run into problems, write it down, jump in the meeting next week, and we can answer those questions. So this is computer maintenance. Next week we'll do online computer maintenance questions and answers. So now the email that you get from us, I'm going to pull it up and let you see it here. Yes. Let's see here. Pull it up, make sure I've, okay, let's see here. Invitation, there we go. April 13, 2/18, that sounds good. Now I apologize, let me start there. I apologize. I am so far behind on getting back to people. I may have to declare bankruptcy on my email and my text messaging. It's just, I've been overwhelmed the last 2 weeks. And I apologize. I do want to get back to you. I do want to get back to you a lot sooner than I have. Because I know I've got questions here, and a couple here. But I know some others out there outside too that have questions. So I apologize for that, but I will be getting in contact with you when I can. This invitation here, let's see if we can zoom this out a little bit. But I'll just scooch over here. Oh, that's not it. Isn't that special? We're going to have to make that bigger, aren't we? Let's do that. Let's do display settings. Made it too small. Okay, we'll do 720. There we go. That'll be decent enough, won't it? Yes, please. All right. So now that invitation, it's a little easier to read. Okay. So on this, let's see here. This is the one we got. When you get that email from us, right? It'll either be from West Park Baptist or it'll be from Tech for Life, right? If you have it from West Park Baptist, they'll look identical, right? It just depends on who it's from. If you ever need to respond to it, it makes a difference, I suppose. But the invitation is the same format almost every time. It's going to tell you the new information, which is the meal that we're having, and the topic. That's about all that changes on it. The rest of it is the same every single time. I may add in a little easier to understand instructions, something like that. But as you go down into it, we'll show you how it displays here. Let's see here. There we go. All right. I'm actually going to change that a little more. I'm sorry. Let's try that again. Keep this up. Isn't that funny? Going right back to where I was. 1920, recommended. Okay, keep that change. Show me that email. Okay. So this email this is what it looks like every single time. The top one's just a billboard. It shows you the main information, right? And then, let's see here. Go through our greetings. Talks about you can get it online. Even if you can't come, when we are meeting here, you can meet online also, right? Or you can watch it live on YouTube, but you can't interact with it. You can just kind of watch it. Nice thing is you might be able to pause it while it's live and then start it up or back it up a little bit. So that's kind of cool. Then the next section below that of how to watch it is what we're eating. You can click in that area, and that's where you can see who's signed up for what, right?
Yeah,
So let's just,
there's an RSVP button.
yes,
I thought I clicked for potluck,
right?
my name in there.
So at the bottom is the RSVP button,
Okay,
especially when it comes from West Park, right? So when you click on that, it's actually going to take you into the website for West Park, and you can say whether you're coming or not, right? Yes. How many you're bringing, right? I bring one. And I just RSVP, and then it sends me an email and lets me know how many people are coming, which is very nice. But
does it show that
yeah, it's the same thing here.
show that I reserved it?
It shows that you checked in probably. I know it did last week, and that's all you do with that.
Show Melinda's name and picture.
Oh, did it? Okay,
Uh-huh.
that's cool.
How come?
Because she checked, you checked RSVP'd also, right? So it shows who's coming, right?
So shouldn't it show that I'm coming?
Right here?
Yeah,
Yep. So it looks like you didn't get to RSVP it. Yeah.
I thought I hit that.
This, right, the one up here, yeah, that's right. But that's okay, because you don't do that here, right? This is just a check-in. It's what our church is used to using, and this is something we don't really use it here, but you can. It's great to know if I have, 20 people coming, I can really change the amount of food that I'm buying, right? It really is helpful. So as we go along and we're learning this, we're gaining new skills, and we can interact more with the other groups that go on here for the different missions and things like that, the different classes that you like to take too, Amanda, right? This is the system that they use.
All right, I'm getting confused now.
Okay,
So if I go back to the
Sure.
RSVP button.
right here.
All right, so person hits the RSVP, then what do they do next?
Just RSVP. That's all you're doing.
Yeah, but it has.
So then it's over here, right? So this is RSVP, and I can change whether I'm attending or not,
Now what do I do?
right? So right in here, you choose yes, maybe, or no,
So I hit
and
yes.
that's fine, Noah. Yeah. I have a lot of photos too, so, but it's always good to have new ones, yeah. So you can tell how many you're bringing too. And that's basically all you're doing on this website. When you hit the RSVP button, this is the section that you're going to. It just tells you a little bit about it. Notice it's the same as the email that we just read, right? So that's the section you're talking about. Yes, I'm going, maybe, no. Bringing other guests, you can type in another comment there. If it's Thursday, I won't get a chance to see it.
So how do you know it's me?
Save. Oh, because to get into the church's website, you have to have an account. So if you don't have an account, it'll let you register one. So yours is under your Gmail, I believe, right? So if you haven't, we'll take a look at it though. When you click, it should be logged in under your Gmail.
Church?
Yes.
Okay, I think mine is through, I get all my email messages on,
I've updated it for your Gmail.
okay.
Yeah, so I sent you an email about that. So it's not the email that you get from us, it's the account that's at this website,
That's good.
right? And your account is set up under your Gmail, right? So if you change your email,
Do that, okay.
well, you don't go to Gmail to change it or to interact with this website, right? This is just an account through West Park's Connections website. So you can use any email address you want with that, and that's where your communications will come from then, right? Because when you update your email address on the website, it knows where to send those messages. But the message, doing something in your email won't change that on the website. Does that make it clear? Okay. So most websites, you have an account. Like JCPenney's, you can't just use an email address to buy something there. You have an account with JCPenney's that your email address is attached to, so they know how to communicate with you. Same thing.
Take us now back to the food stuff. Or
Sure, yeah. So if you RSVP, then you're done. You can close that tab, right? So on the top here, where the email, this is the invitation you get in your email. And then you have the Tech for Life's computer class, how to watch it online, potluck here, and it tells you what it is. And then here, click for potluck food sign-up sheet. And we'll talk more about this, and we'll practice it next week also, about how to change data. And this is one thing that we were doing, trying on a mobile device. It's a little harder, isn't it? Yeah, but I remember Melinda trying when we first started doing this. She was really trying to get it to work. And on the computer, it looks different. On the phone, it looks very different from it. So it's easier to do on a computer, but you can do it on a mobile device. So this is the sign-up sheet, and it's just a spreadsheet. That's the great thing about it. We're just putting information into a form that we all use. So this one form we share with everybody in the class. And if you change it and you delete something, it's gone for everybody. But I can also look up and see who did that. So the format that we do on it comes in like this. It's one page of about 12 rows. And it tells what the meal is, when it is, where it's at, email if you have questions about the potluck. But this section right here is where it's most important, where it says what I'm bringing, and it shows what I was bringing tonight, and anything else that's left open, feel free to jump in and grab if you want to. I think I actually did that too. I think if I actually go in here and select an area, right, up in here is where a spreadsheet will let you change it, but you can change it here also. I'm just going to, remember, cut, copy, and paste, the things that we practice all the time, because it's very powerful, and this is another reason. You can use it in any program, and it goes from program to program. So I'm going to copy that name right there. I'm going to go down to the next field, because actually, I'll take this down here. We kind of split it up, but Stacy brought most of this stuff, so I want to put her name there. It says, enable this. It lets me do that. Apparently, I have to do it that way. I can always use the control keyboards, apparently, yeah. So I can go Control-C on my computer and go Control-V on the computer to paste it, right? Those are the shortcuts, right? You can see what it is when you right mouse click. Control-X, Control-C, Control-V. And so that's what I did, Control-V with my keyboard. Otherwise, yeah. And you did the sweet tea too, didn't you? Yeah. You sure can. I'll just do it like that. So when you select it and just start typing, like that, hit enter, and it's done. So I was able to go in and modify it just like that, just like an Excel spreadsheet. Same thing, same abilities, capabilities. It's just through a web page. So that's that. And at the bottom, I'm not sure if you noticed this here. I'm going to make it easier to see by making it smaller. And let's see here. This right here are the different tabs. There's 2 sheets to this. And so I'll just drag it out just a little bit more just to see it, right? So we can see it. But this right here is prayer requests. And if we have those, we've got a prayer request for Debbie for her health. And we're still praying that the usability of her arm from the stroke comes back. But her speech is doing better, and she's standing on both legs, which is amazing. I mean, we thank God for this. This is amazing stuff for a stroke, right? I mean, this is amazing to come back this quickly. And we just thank God for that. But we're still praying that the arm use comes back too. But other things like that will come in here. So if you have prayer requests, you can put them on the sheet, but we'll track it this way too, so that we can pray about it during the week also. But that's the 2 pieces, the 2 pages. That's how we switch back and forth at the bottom. We just come in. There it is. Oop. Gotta find my mouse. There it is, right there. So click there or click there, and it shows potluck sign up, prayer request. So yeah, it's not too difficult, but it takes some practice and it takes some messing around with it. Feel free to go in there and click a section, type your name in, and it's as simple as that, really. I mean, we don't have to do a lot, but you can type in something else that you want to bring too, right? Hey, I'm going to bring chips, right? Chips. Nelson. That way it's easy to plan with each other. So, and we'll get better at it as we go along too, when we're each trying it, right? So, plus if you don't like chicken, then you can have the salad instead, right? So yeah, that's as easy as it is to get in through the invitation that you get in your email. Just comes in right at the top there. You can click here to get to the meeting. Click here to sign up for the food. And the rest is informational, right? Join us for supper if you can't bring anything. I'm going to start the presentation. I'm going to really try to get that started at 6:15 each time. Here's our topic, computer maintenance. That's what it looks like. More info, the website, the West Park Connections, the Pulse even. Grace and peace. I love you guys. Our online meeting, like a Zoom meeting, you click here. It's the same link on all those. Whenever you say connect to the meeting, it's the same link. When you click on it, it's going to jump in and it's going to say, hey, we want to use your microphone. We want to use this. I say, okay. You type in, whatever name you want to. I put in countdown here. And I'm going to say no video, none of that, just that. But I'm putting in my name and joining the meeting. If you want to be heard and seen, you make sure that these are right. And it'll walk you through it and talk to you about that. But that's as quick and easy as you can get into something for a meeting, an online meeting like that. Like at the top even, right? Online at Tech for Life online meeting. It's the same thing. We'd like to use your microphone. Okay, allow for now. And the actual email tells you about that, right? It says here, online meeting, you can test it now. If you see this, you do not have to install the extension for Google Calendar. If that pops up, it says 1, don't show this again, 2, close it, right? You should see this login screen, just like that, is what we saw. Follow the instructions, put in your name, select join meeting, and on Thursday, if it's before the meeting, you should see this little countdown, right? It's counting down on when we're going to start the meeting, right? And if it doesn't start at 6:10, please be patient with us. You know how it is. Sometimes it takes a little longer to go over prayer requests or get a laptop working. And it was working earlier today. It just stopped for the meeting. The enemy likes to mess with me sometimes. But yeah, it says, while waiting for the meeting to start, you can familiarize yourself with the options of the screen, just like in here. When you go to it, we'll test it. You can hold your mouse over. When you hold the mouse, it tells you what it does, right? The little pop-up here, all right? Watch, I'll put it over that person. All right, here, there we go. Invite people. Select a background. I wouldn't mess with that one. It takes a really fast computer to do it. In settings, you can get into that if you want to, or the simplest thing is just put a name in, hit join meeting, and watch what happens now. So we're going to see live stream. Oh, hey, Jamesy, I'm sorry. I'm going to click on, there we go. Thank you. Yeah, so that's what it'll look like. Notice, it's funny because you see it on the projector going down, down, down. But that's what you'll see. You'll hear it on the headphones or speakers of your computer. And notice on the right-hand side, if there's more people involved, there'll be some other things there. Did you close the meeting that you had down there? Okay. Notice down here, it'll tell you what it is. And whatever he sends back there to the YouTube is what comes up here. So you'll hear my voice through the microphone. You'll hear the presentation. You'll see the screens a little bit, right? Watching on a TV or on a little screen is not going to be very helpful. If you watch on a big TV like this or something like that, yeah, it would be great, right? So, but you can at least hear it, see a little bit what's going on. These buttons down here, how it's controlled. You have your audio, mute the microphone. You have the camera set up. You have sharing your screen. You probably don't have to worry about any of those. This is kind of a nice feature. You click that and it shows everybody on the call at the same time in a little square, kind of like the Brady Bunch. Each person has their own little cubicle. You click it again and it goes back to that main view. But whatever you select over here is what shows up, right? So I click here, it's going to show you my screen, right? Which is nothing right now. Actually, I can probably turn this up like this. Let's see here. Mess this up real quick. Video settings. Allow to use my camera? Sure. And boom, is it going to come up? There we go. Oh, I muted it there. Let's try it again. There we go. So now you got my close-up camera right on my laptop, and that's kind of what you'll see for yours if you select it. But whatever you select on the right-hand side over here is what it shows, right? So live stream will always be the main presentation, right? So it's that simple. I mean, the great thing is you don't have to install any software. You just go in and click that link, and it'll take you right to it. So.
How did you get all that to come up at the bottom?
It's just there.
It's just there.
Yeah, it's part of the web page.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh. So anytime you need to, and you can go and mess in it, you can join the presentation even though it's not there. You'll be the only one there, right? But you click on it, it runs through a web page, just read these things. It wants to use your microphone, and I tell it, forever or for a week, but you can do it anytime, right? Put your name in, join the meeting. These down here is what you're talking about?
Yeah, right,
So
right.
when I move away, right, I click in the area, oops, doing the same thing here. There we go. Allow to use my camera. Okay, there we go. So when you move your mouse, this will pop back up. See how it went away?
Yeah.
The controls went away to make it easier, right? So we can do that. Yeah, when I just move the mouse, see how they pop right up? And when you're done, or if you have to go, you can mute your microphone. I would suggest you mute it until you need to talk. That way it's cleaner for everybody to hear. But you can do this too. You can just leave the meeting with that red. Or like I do, I just close the thing up here is what I do. I close the tab that I'm in. So yeah, but that's how we, get in. Any quick questions about that? Because I'll be able to talk to you individually, next week too. If you have other questions that you tried to get into the meeting, write your questions down. We'll be glad to answer them. All right, so we're good? All right. Now on to the lesson that we're really chomping at the bit for, right? Let's see here. Close those up. Adult education, we're done with that. Invitation, we're done there. All I need is maintenance. There we go. All right, computer maintenance. Let's see how fast we can do this. All right. So you can do your own computer maintenance. You don't have to pay somebody to do it. You don't have to pay me to do it. You can go and do it yourself and keep it running really well, like almost as good as when you bought it. Keep in mind that as you use a computer, more stuff gets added into it, which are instructions, and it slows down the computer because it has to do more instructions, right? And then you'll add in programs that do more, so they're adding more instructions. It slows the computer down just a little bit more. Then you put in security software like antivirus or Malwarebytes, right? Anti-malware, and it'll slow it down because it's hunting, right? So it's slowing down the processes, feeding it through those scanners as they're watching for dangerous patterns. So it's important to choose things that are fast, right? When you're looking at antivirus and malware too. But we're going to look at trying to do these three things, and Nelson taught me this. I always showed three things, right? Keep it operating optimally. Yeah, we've had lots of discussions, and I do remember, yes. We're going to extend the PC lifetime use, right? So just as an example, this is the laptop that I bought for my daughter when she was in high school, and now she's married and has a job as a nurse, and they've been married for about 3 years now. So, yeah, and so that's when she was in high school. It's probably time to go, I know. And the other thing is saving money. Typically, a technician's call will cost you anywhere from $50. It's a good price. If you have a friend who does it for $20 to $30, right, $35. But the average price for a technician to come to your house, if you go with Geek Squad, something like that, it can be as high as $300 a visit. And then you're trusting somebody with your data, and just look up technicians that have stolen your data and then blackmailed you for it later. So, yes.
She got married in August.
She was, August 2018. It's going to be 4 years, you're right. It's coming up on it. Thank you. Hey, Carol, welcome. So the methods we're going to use to find everything is, we talked about this the other day at the question and answer session. Anything you're curious about, you can search online for, whether it's Google or DuckDuckGo or Yahoo or Bing, whatever it is. You can say keywords, how do I do this? And you'll find guidance for any number of topics like that. So the first thing that you can do to help yourself is to find those keywords that will help you find the information you're looking for. Just like how to use the meeting software, it's called Jitsi. You look at the top of it, the name as it's there. How do I use Jitsi? You can probably find videos on YouTube about it, things like that. But the Windows Start search is what we're going to try to focus on at first, and then we'll do web searches after that. right? So in Windows, they want you to start typing at the little search icon, right? That little thing that's down here, little magnifying glass. That's where the search is going to be. I'm just going to switch over here to this. Down in here. Here we go. So right down in here. Thanks, No. We click on that, and you can start typing. I forget what it is to come over here. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to look this up. Close. Options. Control-Alt-G. Let's try that again. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, right down here in the corner, next to the Windows logo, right? The Start button. I'm going to switch back to the right cursor. You click on it, the Start menu pops up, or I can click here, and it turns into the search. And I can start typing, right? So I can start typing computer maintenance. And notice that's finishing right there. I can hit tab, and it'll type it in for me, right? Nope. There we go. Computer maintenance. Search for it. So it's already started searching for computer maintenance. And that, apparently I mistyped it down here. It spelled checked it for me, right? But it says, looks like tech support, right? So I can modify that if I wanted to by typing in self computer maintenance, or SLEF, right? Self, somebody's help me. There we go. Self computer maintenance. Oh, and they want to sell you products all of a sudden, right? See, self computer maintenance. Let's see here. There it is. Scroll through there. So that's the first step. If you want to know how to do something on the computer, that's where I would start, right? It's like your online it's like your manual that's built into the computer. So if I want to see that, like backup, right? Backup settings, controlling folder access, ransomware protection. Let's see here, Control-Alt-G. Yep, there we go. Oh well. That's how to do display, right? Calibrate color display, see the duplicate or extend the connected display. I click on that, and it's going to tell me how to do that right here. What's that? Okay, this is what pops up for that, which is the display settings for the computer. So, your question?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
You're using Windows.
This is Windows 10, yeah. Most everybody should have Windows 10 by now.
My computer didn't revise for me. It uses Bravo. There's no Windows.
It uses Chrome OS, right?
Use Chrome.
Depending on which one we're talking about. Are we talking about the Chromebook or the computer?
Dell you replace with the battery.
Okay, it uses Windows 10.
Yeah, it does?
Yes. Mm-hmm. The Dell does. The Chromebook uses Chrome OS, which is basically just a web operating system. Right, but you're using a web browser each time. Yeah, so it's Windows 10.
You instituted Bravo on
Brave?
Brave.
Brave, yes. Brave is a way of looking at the internet.
That's not Windows.
No, it's an application that's in Windows for looking at the internet. It's like Chrome, it's like Internet Explorer, which no longer exists, right? They got rid of it. Now they have Edge, and Edge is basically Chrome, which is really sad. They just couldn't afford to keep developing it. That's okay. So Brave is a very secure website browser.
So I can do this with Brave.
This is just for Windows that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
This is like the manual for Windows.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
In my mind, I'm getting those two mixed together.
And this will do that too. Notice that when I typed in backup or computer maintenance, it started doing website searches on the right.
Brave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, turn the computer on and hit Brave.
Okay,
I'm sorry to be so simple.
that's okay.
So how do I get to Windows from Brave?
Well, let's not go to Brave just yet.
Okay,
Let's stay in Windows.
we'll save that.
Yeah, let's stay in Windows, because this right here, down at the bottom, is Windows, right? We've got our Start menu, which is where everything goes, all our applications. And when we do that, and click here next to it, the magnifying glass, to search for things, right? Now notice it says the recent things that I've searched for, sound settings, other things like that. Right? I can click on it, and it'll open up the sound settings window. Right? And the information alongside it tells you what it's for. Right? It has related settings at the bottom, help from the web, setting up a microphone, fixing sound problems, right? Click on that, and then it's going to go to the internet. See, and it's opened up, actually, I'll show you here. Oh, there it is. So it opened up a browser here, fixing sound problems, and it actually has a troubleshooter from Microsoft, see? And notice it's very limited. I mean, it's fixed sound problems in Windows 10. It did that for you, but it told it to only search for site.microsoft.com. So you see right in there, that site, they limited it to come from their website. You can do those searches too. You can search one website for certain terms just by typing in site : the name of the website. But this is how helpful that interaction between Windows and the internet is for looking up how to fix your computer. Some of it's built in because it's the settings, right? And then when you got down to the bottom, it had those blue links. Those are external. So it opens up a web browser like Brave, right? So let's close those out, and I'll show you now what we're talking about using the Brave browser, okay? So we started with Windows Start Search, right? And then we're going to talk about web search. That's the difference between the two, right?
I see where you're going.
Yeah, so we started down here in Windows, and for most of it, even if you didn't have an internet connection, Windows should find the stuff that's on the computer, like display, sound, stuff like that. If you're looking to go a little more in depth, like how to troubleshoot something, then you can open up a browser here, and that's what this is right here. I'm just going to open up a new Brave window here, and that's what comes up for mine, right? This is my main window for Brave. It's just an internet browser, right? And it has my shortcuts, but it has my address bar, and that's where it's flashing, ready to go to DuckDuckGo and search for something. So I can type in the same things that I'm looking for, you know, how to fix sound problems, Windows 10, and it'll show me all the websites that deal with that, right? But so it was different from doing it in Windows, where it showed me just the Microsoft website for their solution for it. And it had a lot of options to go through. And I would start there for the computer. But to learn different things, go to the browser and start typing, right? Start typing in there keywords that will help you find and fix what you're looking for, okay? And what was it I said, Stacy, that really made an impact when you started taking the classes? You said the difference between... Yeah, so from the difference between you guys and IT support is they know how to Google the question better, right? That's what you're doing. You can find the same solutions. You may not understand all the technical things, but at least you're closer than you used to be, and you have a better idea of what may be going on, and you might find a simple solution too. It's like, oh, unmute your microphone. Oh, okay. Then you can type that. How to unmute my microphone. Windows 10, right? You put in all those keywords. So that's the difference between the searches, okay? But that's a web browser, Brave, that we opened up. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. These maintenance areas are what we're going to focus on. We're going to look at cleaners. We're going to look at updates. We're going to look at how to tell a good antivirus to buy, right? And then we're going to look at backups. And they're pretty straightforward for all these. But it's a lot of information to take in at once, but you only have to hear it, then try to do some of it, and then continue the lesson from then when you have time. So we're going to talk about cleaners, literally talking about the hardware and the software cleaners. So there's actually cleaners that we can use to clean our devices, right? And if you choose the right ones, it'll take better care of them, right? And we won't hurt things either as we go, right? Let's see here. Let's take a look at this. The main caution I want to give you on working with electronic devices, whether it's a computer, whether it's a smart device, or a video camera, or anything, you know, about the only things that aren't as susceptible to it are these smartphones, right? It's static electricity. We're on carpet, right? You can just scooch our feet around. If it were cold outside and dry in here, we'd generate a lot of static electricity, and just touching the edge of a computer could kill it. So you have to be careful with that, and that's the warnings here about that. Static electricity, simple ways to protect your PC's hardware from static electricity when you're working on it: avoid rubbing your socks against carpeted floors, take off any wool sweaters or clothing. These are important, simple things, right? Leave the PC plugged into a grounded outlet. Don't break off that little ground on an extension cord just to plug it in, because that was the safety. That's how it gets rid of those damaging shocks to your system. The three-pronged outlets is what we're talking about, right? You know, when you look at the orange extension cords or these big black ones, that's what that three-pronged thing is. Be sure to turn its power completely off using the main power switch on the power supply. It's likely found on the back of your case, right? On a computer, you have the power switch on the front, but the power supply has an off button in the back on a tower, right? These, you'd pull the battery out of them, right? You make sure they're not plugged into the power supply, pull the battery out. A lot of them have a battery like yours. You can't pull the battery out of it. You'd have to pull the whole case apart to pull it apart, because it's like a laptop, it's like a cell phone battery. It's flat and sandwiched in there. Some of the older ones have one you can actually slide across and take out. So removing the power completely so you don't get electrocuted is number one, right? But number two is that you don't want it to be shorted out by the electricity that's running through it also. Touch a metal part of your computer case with your hand before touching the internal components. That'll ground you and it'll neutralize the static discharge. So as long as it's connected to the power for the tower, and the power is off, when you touch the case, if you had static discharge, it should go through the case and out that ground wire to the ground. Does that make sense? It would take away that dangerous static thing that you would touch with it. Okay? If you don't feel comfortable, don't do it, right? Learn more about it. Google it. Watch some videos on it. Make sure they're trustworthy videos and that somebody's not just pulling your leg, getting you to break your computer, right? Because believe it or not, there are jokesters out there that are cruel. All right, keyword searches. This is what we were talking about earlier with opening Brave. You open your browser and use the following search keywords to find good methods and tips as we look at cleaning your computers, right? We would look in, and I guess this is what we could use your computer for now if we wanted to. There's just a couple of them. But you'd type in clean computer, outside, keyboard, inside. Those keywords is what we would use for looking for how to find this information. Let me just show you it here. Let's see here. So we're looking for a clean computer. I'm just going to open this up. Clean computer outside. And I'm going to preface this with how to clean a computer outside. I'm going to hit enter, and we're going to see what the DuckDuckGo brings back. Look, we got a couple of videos. Clean your laptop the easy way. You want to watch it, make sure it's safe, then do it if you feel comfortable, or don't do it if you don't feel comfortable. But you'll want to see, 983,000 views, 324 views. Okay, 7 minutes, 3 minutes. I'd listen to both of those, see what they say, right? See what sounds right, what doesn't sound right, what sounds comfortable for me to do. But there's some others. Cleaning your computer, the outsides, right? TDS Home. That's a blog. That's somebody's opinion, right? Yeah. Wired.com is pretty reputable. How to clean your computer inside and out. So I would click on that, and it'll show us. Scrub down those keys, wipe the fingerprints off your screen, and delete all the files that have been clogging your tubes. Get one of your, okay, advertisement, close it. So just scroll through there, and you can read through it. It tells you what they're doing, what you'll need. Microfiber, cleaning cloths, isopropyl alcohol, compressed air can, Q-tips. About an hour or two. That's probably a long time, but it's walking you through that, and we're going to talk about it too. So I've got a compressed air can. You buy these any store, Walmart, Office Supply, Best Buy. I wouldn't buy them at Best Buy; they're pretty expensive there. But find your best value, what you can do, and it has a little red, kind of like a straw that plugs in there, and you can shake it up a little bit, and then just gently touch it. But don't turn it upside down, or else the chemical will come out and leave a white residue on things. So eyes upright, right? But that's what they're going to walk you through, how to do it. Take a soft cloth, a microfiber cloth is recommended because there's no lint that comes off of it, right? It's gentle, and it won't, the only lint that's on it right now is from my inside of my bag or touching my clothes right now, right? So, but it tells you what to do. Slightly dampen it with water and start scrubbing. You may not even have to do that. Sometimes just a little bit of this, like you're cleaning your glass sometimes on your phone, right? A little warm air will get a little condensation build up on the outside, and you can just use that. But if you want to clean it, a little damp water, just a little bit, but you got to be careful. Water and electricity don't mix. So you have to keep it away from the insides of keyboards, because you don't want the water dripping down inside your keyboard, or soft drinks is what I usually find. Sticky keys inside, little residue. Saw one that a friend had that it just killed the chips inside. They'd spilled, soda on it. So let's take a look at these others. But that was a quick way to do a search for those simple tasks, right? So when you clean a computer outside, and all these things, your results may vary, and you use it at your own risk, right? You can't come and say, well, I did this and it didn't work, but that's okay. You tried, right? On the computer outside, you want to look for air vents that get plugged, right? Just like your register and your air conditioning, those little filters that they pull out, they don't always have filters on these. Some of the newer ones do. You can pull the filters, clean those out, put them in there, and then the airflow increases, right? But usually it's just caked with dust and dirt, and it's inside that way too. So when you get in there, you can blow the air through the vents, right, from the inside, from the outside if you take the cover off carefully. And you have to be careful because soft lint-free cloth is best. You can use a vacuum, but you're mostly going to increase the chances of static shock and ruining the device. But canned air is the best, right? So a little bit of that and a little blows a lot of that dust away. So on keyboards, for some reason we all eat over our keyboards, we drink over our keyboards, and it's the main way we get information into our computers. So the best thing to do is to use that canned air to blow out the keys. I take it outside, I hold it upside down, and I blow it, and everything falls out that is not supposed to be in there. But we shed a lot on our bodies anyway. So you can do it this way, but I really recommend taking it outside, unplug it from the computer, and spraying it out that way. Same things, right? Is the case. All right, clean the computer inside. Notice the computer on the left and the computer on the right. It's the same computer. Just look at all that caked dust, dirt, and stuff on the side there. What happens when that dust builds up on the parts? It increases the heat, and it doesn't run as well. It actually can cause it to malfunction and not compute correctly. So by blowing that out and having it like that, it'll keep it cooler, which will make it last longer, make it run faster. Just carefully blow it out. Notice how he's putting it into the case with the side off like that. I usually take it outside to do that because I don't want that dust blowing around in the house. Units that are stored on the floor are going to have much more dust on them than the ones that are stored on the desk, because all the dust goes to the floor and it sucks right into it. So, and that's actually, yeah, this is very similar to a teacher that used to teach here with our class about 6 years ago. He had a computer just like that. He hadn't cleaned it forever, and he asked me to do it. And I said, "You're welcome," because it was like a cat died, and all the hair just went everywhere in it. But yeah, cleaning your monitor. Now, why do we have to be very careful of the monitor? Becky knows this one. Oh God. Why are we very careful with the monitor, especially on a laptop, right, or even a flat panel like this? Why don't we tap it with our finger? Why don't we point it and push into it really hard? What happens?
It'll break.
It'll break. It's just a very thin piece of glass. It's actually a piece of glass. It's very thin. It can be a piece of plexiglass, but it's not usually. Usually it's just a thin plastic filament, and if you press too hard, it'll break, and then you'll see the shattered lines, and the display is gone. I mean, you have to replace it. And it's a laptop that's even harder, right, to replace it. On a desktop, you just buy a new monitor, put it in there. So you want to be careful when you clean a monitor, and I'll show you how to do it. You want to turn off and unplug the monitor. You want to clean the frame. That's that area around the dotted area, that little bevel, that plastic area right around here, right? And you can put a little bit of pressure on that, but you don't want to put any pressure on the inside. In fact, I'll show you what happens when you touch it. Look at that. See that? See that little line that's there? I was putting just a little bit of pressure on it, and that's what happens. If I push a little bit harder, cracking the TV is useless. So we clean the frame, we wipe the monitor screen with a clean, soft piece of microfiber cloth. Don't use any cleaners on it, like ammonia or alcohol or acetone-based products, because it'll remove the mat that's on the screen. Laptop screens actually have a mat, a surface put onto it so that people can't see from the sides. So when you're on an airplane, you usually have to be right in front of it, right, to do that. Some actually businesses get some that are so narrow that if you were just off a little bit, you couldn't even see your screen. It just goes dark. That way you can protect company secrets type things. Others actually go as far to have a pair of glasses that when you put it on, then the screen shows up. Otherwise, it looks blank to everybody else. That's a really good security method for that. But as far as us, we want to be careful not to remove any of the stuff that's put on there to keep it from showing lights reflecting on it, you know, because you notice, like when you do this, right, you can see those lights on the screen because this doesn't have a lot of anti-glare to it, right? It's mostly positioning and turning out the lights to watch the TV. But your laptop, you move it everywhere, right? So you don't, not like a TV where you mount it. This one's on a cart, luckily, but nicely finished monitors will help with those little additions that they put onto it to keep it looking nice and not as reflective. Each one's different, so be careful when you do that, and make sure that everything's dry before you turn on your monitor again. But this is one way. I think it's showing a video on the side here about WikiHow, about cleaning your computer monitor. I want to show you a really cool way to do it. To keep from putting too much pressure on your monitor, you're going to fold your towel up like that, and then you're going to roll it, right? I'm just rolling it down like this, so it's kind of a nice little towel roll. And then when I can put a little more pressure that way, I got some fingerprints up here. Notice it's still doing that little display thing because it's a liquid display that's showing that light. I can do that if I want to, but it's not mine. But yeah, so that's how you can get fingerprints off, because as we're used to touching smartphones, I'm used to touching my monitor. Some monitors are touch screens. They're a little bit better about showing fingerprints, but when I go from one that's a touch screen to one that's not, I touch my non-touch screen, and I got fingerprints all over it. That's how you clean it. So that little bit of rolled towel keeps you from putting too much pressure on that screen, and you can press it that way. Okay?
No cleaner?
Not usually. You can buy some cleaners, but I really haven't had a need for them in years. There's a lot of expensive cleaners out there you can try, but chances are you could run into having to remove the screen anyway. You'd want to test it in a little corner like you do on your clothes, you know, for cleaners too. So.
You just use like a regular washcloth, the same, I mean, you know.
Well, you can, the lint-free microfiber cloth, and you can get these for a couple bucks at a package of 4 at Harbor Freight.
Okay.
Yeah, you might be able to get them at dollar store even. It doesn't cost very much, and they're nice to keep around. They don't have any lint. Because the other thing is with static devices, if you were to use a washcloth, it would go across it like this, and now there's lint all the way across the screen. So that's why microfiber. Okay. Yeah, good question. So now we're going to go from hardware cleaning, the actual physical device, to software cleaners. We're going to clean the inside instructions of the computer, right? The list that it goes through, the applications that are there, and all the temporary files and other settings that are stored there to remember the way we like to do things on the internet, the way we like to, what websites we go to. It stores information about us, right? So it pulls it up and gives us a more familiar experience. Certain things that a computer does, the way it stores the information in its system, can be cluttered sometimes. That's why it will always shut down the computer, start, shut down, because then it goes through the instructions of, okay, now I can clean up all the stuff that I used temporarily to make it look nice, to show them this program, to show them these emails, to show them these pictures, to play this video. Okay, I don't need any of the information I had to show them that. I can get rid of that and clean out that space. There are some cleaners out there. Again, your results may vary. Use at your own risk. But certain devices don't need some of these things because of the advanced hardware that's in them, okay? The main difference I'm going to tell you about right now is storage. Like on the thinner devices now, you can have very thin devices like the tablets use a little chip inside, or it's even soldered to the board, and that has their memory, right? It's an electronic solid state memory. Same thing with these. They can have actually a hard drive for storage that's much bigger than those little chips that are electronic only solid state. There's no moving parts in them. It's all electricity that stores that information. It has a function of when it turns off the power that it kind of like solidifies that information in there so it doesn't get lost like the old computers used to. You turn off the computer, everything's gone, right? So you boot it up again, then everything's there again. The older style, and there are still devices out there that have them as their main drive that runs the computer, is a hard drive that's mechanical and magnetic discs and little arms on it that read, as fast as they can as the disc is spinning like a record player. Those are the ones you need to do the most maintenance on because of the way it stores the information. It's on a slower device, has to actually spin that disc around to find that information. It's not electronic, just going to the electronic position and finding it quickly, the speed of electricity compared to the mechanical speed of the drive, right? So on those drives, we would do a process that's called defragmentation. Because as the computer writes information on a hard drive like that, it doesn't store it in one pass. And most of them, think of it like a disk, right? And then multiple disks on top of it. When it goes to write it, it will write in wherever there's a hole. So say you have a very large file that you delete, and it leaves that space in between a whole bunch of other information, it will start writing in information in the very first holes that it finds and split up that file in all those places. So if you go to write a big video file, it will spread that video file all over the hard drive wherever it can tuck information into because there's a space there. Otherwise your computer would fill up all the time and you're like, oh, I don't have any more space. It maximizes it by running it that way. So on those older systems, on that type of hard drive, we would defrag it, and what that does is it goes through and takes the time to write them in one segment, right? So it finds all the little pieces and puts them all together. So when you go to open it, zip, it does it as soon as it finds it, because it doesn't have to go around looking for all the pieces and putting it together. Does that make sense? Clear as mud? Actually, let's see, most of you are getting this. It's great. So it's built into Windows, defragging, right? It's actually under the properties of the hard drive. We can actually go to the hard drive list. We can right mouse click on it, choose properties, and that would come up. We can go to the tools section and find defragmenter right there, and it would defragment now, and that's okay. It would work. I like programs like the Defraggler or some others that are made by other companies. Sometimes they do a better job of defragging those pieces. So once you do that, it will go through and optimize the hard drive to load the operating system faster and put all the files that you use the most closer to the front of the hard drive. So that actually speeds up your computer by defragging it that way. And on older systems, we used to do it every week. I mean, if you really wanted, if you took really good care of your computer, you were defragging every night because it just took so long to do it. Now these things are so fast, but we have much bigger hard drives. So it just depends on what type of data do you use, right? Is it very small or is it very big? It might take a little bit longer. You going? It's good to see you, Amanda. God bless you. I'll talk to you later.
Can you re-step that again?
What's that?
Can you go through that step again? You go to properties?
Yeah, let me show you what that looks like. That's okay. We're going to try it. Hopefully it'll show up this way, right? I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to actually, so I open up the File Explorer, right? And in the File Explorer, it has the devices that are there, and I'm going to right mouse click and choose Properties, right? So I just went to the device, I held my mouse over it, right mouse click, and choose Properties. And it brings up the properties for the hard drive. And I have a Tools section, the tabs at the top tell me what I can look at. General, this is the name, how much is used up on it. I can look at this, it says Disk Cleanup. I could actually click that button and it would go and say, hey, you've got all these temporary files or these updated files, you don't need them anymore. Would you like to keep them or get rid of them? You say get rid of them or keep them, whatever you choose. But these are how you go in and take care of your hard drive in Windows. So we click on Tools, and look at that. Optimize and defragment the drive. Optimizing your computer's drive can help. Can't even read it. I wonder if I can do it like this. Let's see. Let's see what happens, guys. Alrighty.
So you did, I'm sorry, go to Explorer, and what was next? The second stage?
The File Explorer shows us our drives.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And let's see here. There it is. I can zoom it in that way, I suppose. Whoa, I really zoomed it in. Okay. So here is where we're at. Whew, that's really big. Easier to see though, right? So we'll do it again. We'll come down here. We'll, okay. When I open up File Explorer, right, this comes up, and I'm going to go down to under the devices there. I'm going to right mouse click, and then I'm going to go down the menu and select Properties.
Devices and properties.
Yep, then that's going to open up this window for the properties of that hard drive, Windows C Properties. And it tells me a little information about it, right? Use space, free space. All that gray stuff is free space. And it's local disk. I can click Tools, or you can go down here and click Disk Cleanup, right? So I click on Tools, and I see this for error checking. I can check it for errors. Usually takes a long time. You have to reboot. But if you get used to it and you're having trouble, it might be a good thing to do, right? Optimize and defrag the hard drive. We click on that, say optimize. Can help run it more efficiently. So what do I have here? Yeah, here we go. I better put it over here. I'm going to close this program here and put it on the screen so you can see it. Okay, so that's what the defragger looks like. And you can optimize your drives to help your computer run more efficiently is what it tells you what to do. Shows you the status of it. It's a solid state drive. So it's not a normal hard drive. We don't want to optimize this one. So we can tell it to optimize it, but we don't need to, because those new drives that are not magnetic hard drives spinning are electronic memory, and it does it already. Does that make sense?
On the newer computer.
On the newer computers, on the newer devices. But you can find laptops that are newer that have magnetic hard drives. So you got to know what the specs are on it, which means doing some research, finding the model of your computer, Google that, right? Do your web search. What model computer do I have? You know, how do I find the name of the drive or something like that? And it'll walk you through how to do all that. Just in the properties alone, right? We can go in there and it'll tell us a little bit about it. Let's see here, general, local drive, tools, hardware, Kingston Corporation, disk drives, right? So it tells me what it is. I can do a search on that number right there, the Kingston Corporation. It'll tell me what kind of drive it is, but it tells me it's a solid state drive here. I don't have to worry about it anymore. I just close it and go on. But if it wasn't, it wouldn't say solid state there, and I know I'd have to optimize it. So, but it's not very difficult to find those things. You know, if you know what you're looking for, know where to find it. If you don't know where to find it, do a web search, right? Or look at your class notes, right? So that's how you can find it. So there are disk defragmentation, and then there's cache and registry cleaners, right? These are all the temporary files. Or the registry, which is the list of instructions that makes Windows Windows. Like when I right mouse click on the hard drive and choose properties, that whole list that pops up is built by the Windows registry. As you install programs and uninstall them, it changes the list that's there, right? So if you have a lot of specialty programs that add a lot of functions for right mouse click, you add more programs in to do that, it makes that list longer, which means it takes longer to boot up Windows because it's trying to find all those options that you put in there. Just Windows itself has its own options in there that you can uninstall or reinstall. You make it as simple as you want to or as difficult as you want to, but most people just leave it as standard Windows, right? So the cache and registry cleaners, the cache is that temporary files, like when we look at websites or we play videos or we look at pictures and it creates a thumbnail. that's what it keeps in a temporary folder that can kind of get built up and left over, right? So we want to clean those out. Windows 10 is getting pretty good at it. Windows 11 is supposed to be much better at it. You may or may not have to do that, but I like to do it on all my older systems just to clean out Windows itself. And like I said, you can use whatever you want to, but I use CCleaner. It's okay. It ran through a spot where they had some advertising malware in it one year, and people stopped trusting it. But the company that makes both of those, they're pretty good right now. Just one of those things where you can't always trust it all the time. But I've been able to go back and see that they fixed it, and they don't do what they used to do. They lost their reputation is what happened when they screwed up, so they had to build it back up again. Let's take a look at Windows Update. Just as a quick note on this, I think I install it on some of your computers, right? And it's not something you have to do all the time, once every 6 months, once a month if you use it a lot type thing. But it's when I notice the computer's running slow, then I run it, and then I'm okay. But it's just one of those things where you tell it to clean up the windows, and then you're done with it. But it has like a Swiss Army knife. It has, 30 or 40 different things you could do with it. I just use the cleaning part of it, maybe the uninstaller, stuff like that. But it has a lot of options. So under updates, we're on a different topic now. To take care of your computer, you really want it up to date. And that's what it was doing when I shut it down to try to fix it. Restarting 90% of the time will fix your device. Have you tried turning it off and on again, right? Windows Update, you can run the updater for Windows 10. It's simple. You type in Start, Search on your Windows, and type in Update Windows or Windows Update. It'll show you how to do it. It's trying to do it all the time in the background. But you can check the status of it that way, and if it hasn't been updated or if it has updates that haven't been installed, it'll let you deal with it there. So click on that, and we'll show here. Under Support, walks you through it. You can choose your windows at the top, right? It tells you what to do, shows you how to do it. Select Start, go to Settings, Update and Security, Windows Update. Or we go down here, I'm going to type it in like that. So I'm going to type Windows Update. Oops, Updater. Update, there we go. And check for updates is the first option, best match. System settings. I can go right in there and look at it. And if it, yeah, there we go. That's what it looks like. You're up to date. Last check this morning. And check for updates again if I want to. Pause it for 7 days. There's a lot of information here that you can learn about what it does. But that's one of the main things you want to keep up to date is your Windows, right? The other thing you want to update is all the apps that you put on your computer. When they do updates, they fix security flaws, they fix programming errors where it was doing the wrong thing in the first place, or things that maybe didn't work on your specific computer, they fixed it. Oh, we forgot about that device in this computer, right? It's different from everybody else's sound card, right? Oh, we got to fix that so the sound works. Yeah, stuff like that. So you have Windows Update, which is your operating system, or your phone, right? Your phone, you have updates that will notify you about every once in a while. Same thing with your apps. They'll notify you need to update your apps, right? Google or third-party updates. I've taught most of you about Ninite.com, which is a great website for going to and updating and downloading and installing all these different apps. And these are kind of crowdsourced, right? Crowdsourcing is a way of taking a large group of people on the internet usually, getting their opinions and their experiences and having them vote like that. They tell you what they've recommended, and then you can see how many people have voted certain ways, right? And you kind of can lean towards that advice. So these are the types of different categories of programs that a lot of technicians use on their computers. And so that's when you're looking for software, right? It's a good place to start is Ninite. And the nice thing about this is it'll install and update all these programs at once, and you don't have to go to each individual website, download it, and install it. So for me, on a home computer, this saves me 4 to 6 hours of configuration to put all the programs on a computer that I use when it's brand new. And then it helps me keep it up to date because I'll open the same installer, it'll go through and check for updates and install them for me. So it saves me all that time of going to each program and saying, oh, I'll go to the Zoom website and found their latest update, and then I'll install it and fix the problems. I'll go to the VLC website and I'll download their update and I'll put it. It does it all for me. It's beautiful that way. So you do that once a month and you've got more up-to-date computers, apps than you would on most computers.
How would you get this 9 to come up? You just have to go buy it somewhere?
No.
Oh.
So this is, when I'm going to tell you, it's very rare that I'm going to give you a suggestion to go buy something.
Yeah.
I'll tell you to save your money for your hardware, for the actual device. But as far as apps and software, I'll usually recommend what's called open source, right? And open source means that some of the best programmers in the internet got together and contributed their specialty to that program. And they offer it for free to people. Now, a lot of them do it where they have donations at their website. If you use a program and use it a lot, buy them a cup of coffee. Send them $10, whatever you feel like sending them. If you really like the features that it gave you, you can support their development that way for giving you these great programs for free, right? So I try to do that with programs that I use, especially if I put it on every computer I have. I like doing that, supporting it to keep them around, right? The nice thing about open source that I look for also, I usually look for a program that doesn't just run on Windows, it runs on Mac, it runs on Linux, and may run on an Apple or an iPhone, right? An iPhone or an Android phone. So that's typically what I'll recommend. But some of these are only for Windows. Ninite is meant for Windows. You go to their website, ninite.com, which is what we had on the screen there, right? In the presentation and on your little folder there. That ninite.com is where you go to. When you go to that web page on your computer, that's what it looks like right there. And it runs you through the how to do it. You basically just go down, 1, pick the apps that you want, 2, download your installer, and then run it. That's the nice thing about it. It's that simple. So if I wanted to, I would go through and I would pick my favorite things, but if I wanted to know what's popular, I'd look at these lists. I'd like to say, hey, what's something that people use a lot for images? Okay, well, just here on imaging, you got Krita, Blender, Paint.net, GIMP, IFNView, XNView, Inkscape, Fastone, GreenShot, and ShareX. Well, I don't know what those are, maybe, right? So I can take those names, though, and I can do a web search. What is this? What is GIMP? Oh, GIMP is a free open source program that competes with Photoshop. And typically, Photoshop would run you $300 to $600 to buy the latest version, but now they rent it to you per month, or $10 to $12 a month to use it. It's a powerful image program. You can do things in layers. You can do amazing things, retouching photos, building artwork, stuff like that. It's just a very powerful program. GIMP is the open source version like that. So they do a lot of the same things.
How do you download and install it?
So the nice thing is, it's real simple. You just tick the things that you want, right? So on here, I'm going to choose Firefox. I'm going to choose Discord because I like to chat with people on that. I'm going to go and play VLC because I love it. It plays just about every one of my media things. I like to record audio. I'm going to do Audacity because I know these programs, right? I'm going under these different topics and I know the ones that I like. I'm going to say GIMP and XNView because it's quick for fixing and resizing things. GreenShot's great for screenshots. Foxit Reader is great for PDFs. LibreOffice, awesome for replacement for Microsoft Office. It's instead of, they just got rid of 2013. Did you see that? In April 2023, they're going to stop supporting 2013. So that's why I like Libre, because as many times as they've updated, it's compatible with Office, right? You may have to learn a little workaround for certain data things, but most of the time people are just creating things, spreadsheets and Word documents. So once I've selected all my security programs, Avast, a TeamViewer for remote control support. I love this down here, WinMerge, and where's the other one? Let's see here. Handbrake is great for making videos. everything for searching, and 7-zip for compressing stuff. So I've selected all the programs that I want. And if I forgot one, I'd go back, check them all again, check that one again. But then I come down here to get your Ninite. When I click on it, it's going to build it. Now it gives me the instructions, right? Here's the pop-up to download it, right? It's telling me what it's doing, right? Download, run, share. So I'm going to hit save, right? And it's put it underneath my downloads. Always look where you're saving stuff, right? This PC downloads. I'm going to go back to it, downloads. And say there's the name for it. It says Ninite, and it gives a couple of the names of the programs that I selected. 7-zip, Audacity, Avast, Discord, everything, installer. So I click on that, and I'm just gonna go back and do one, okay? Just so we can do it real fast, because some of those take a long time to download. So I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna say, give me, let's see here. Are they all checked? 7-zip is, okay. I'm just gonna tell it to download, let's see here, what's something simple that I can install? I don't want it to install all these things right away. Okay. Nope, not my security program. Okay. WinMerge, okay. I'm going to say Notepad++, okay? Let's say I've selected all those programs, right? I download it. I tell it, get it, here it comes. I'm going to put that down there. I'm going to hit save. Comes down here and it downloads it. It's already done. I'm going to click on it to run it, right? It's going to pop up. There it is. It's running on my other screen here. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And boom, it's ready to, I'm going to just minimize all this, right? There we go. Oops, sorry. Yeah, buddy? Gotcha. Thank you. When you go to install something on your computer, it's going to say, hey, something's trying to install. Did you do this? Yes, I did, right? If it pops up and you didn't do anything, tell it no, right? This is what it looks like. It says user account control. It's not a message saying you need to update something. It's saying, I'm trying to make changes to your device. It's not like saying, hey, your malware detection's out of date. That's not what we're talking about. This is specifically for installing. This is the Windows screen that you'll get saying, you're trying to install something on your computer. You have to give it permission to do that. Same thing. Yes, it's awesome.
It'd take hours to sit there and do them one by one by one.
It really would, yeah.
Lord,
So,
forever. But
so-
if I could just write this down, you just pick out the apps you want,
right.
and then you go to one after you pick out the apps?
Well, on the website itself, it tells you what to do.
Okay, just.
So
tell me
pay
what
attention to what it's telling you to do, step 1, step 2, step 3,
Okay.
and do that. Now, there's going to be some advertising on the side. You have to ignore that.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
follow it just for the website.
Then you just upload it and save it, and that's it. I mean,
Download it.
or download it.
Right. If we upload it, we're sending from our computer to the cloud, right?
Okay, download it.
Right. You'll get used to it too. You'll start some of the technology terms you've learned so far. You're starting to use them now,
Yeah.
right? And then we're all understanding them. So
Yeah.
when you tell it yes, I told it to install this. I could do that. And oh, here I was doing it on the other screen here. Sorry. This is what it looks like. It's doing this. It was running through installing it. And it says, okay, application, everything in Notepad. Apparently, I had that 2 things selected. It's okay. It's up to date. And it says Notepad is now okay. So I can get help. You know, I can answer. I can write feedback, stuff like that. You know, those are links that go to the program. But this is the Ninite program. Every time I run that, it's going to try to check to see if there's an update for that program, for those 2 programs actually right now. So let's see that. Again, I'm going to run that again. Let's see, put my browser. Oops, wrong one. Ninite, there we go. So I've got my downloads, right? I'm going to pull my downloads up, which actually is a shortcut. I'm going to tell you is Control-J. When you put Control-J in Brave browser or Chrome or Firefox, it shows you your list of downloads, right? And if it's still there, if you haven't moved it, you can find it and click on it again. See where it says show in folder? I can click it and it'll take me where I saved it. If I forgot where I saved it, it's an easy way to do that, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say show in the folder, right? Well, there it is right there. That's that program underneath the downloads, right? See this PC, Windows, my user, my name, then downloads. If I run it again, it's going to pop up. I'll say it, it's going to the main screen here. Yes, I want to run it. And it's running it again. Sorry, it did it again over here. Dagnabbit, okay. So every time I run it, it tries to update those programs, those 2 programs only, because that's what I selected. I don't have to go to all those websites and check them again and see if the version is newer or not. It does it for me. Yeah, so it's very helpful as far as updating your system. All right, we're going to close that and go back to our presentation here. So that's Nanite. So we've got Windows updates and our program updates, our apps. All right, those are the best way to stay safe too when you get the latest updates, because they fix the security holes that they've learned about. All right, so software comparisons. Nanite, Alternative2.net, FileHippo.com. These are some resources that you can start with, where if you're looking for an alternative to something like Office, right? Here's where it says Microsoft Office will no longer be supported as of April 11th, 2013. So 1 year from now, they're going to do that. So let's click on that. Office, we're going to put that in here. We're going to type it in. We're going to say Microsoft Office. There it is at the top. When I click on that, it's going to say Microsoft Office Suite Alternatives, right? So these are the most successful alternatives for people that have crowdsourced and give their information, their votes on this, right? Notice the 349 versus LibreOffice, the 2,543 votes, hearts, right? And it gives you a little information about it, stuff that people have had pluses or minus, right? There's another alternative, WPS Office, free, lightweight. There's another one, OnlyOffice, 357 votes. Apache OpenOffice, which is the same thing as LibreOffice, just not as developed. Yep, thank you, sir. So we can click on those, and just as an example, this gives us review information that we can choose to make a logical decision of whether we want to try it or not. Tells you it's a powerful Office suite, it's clean interface, feature-rich tools, help you unleash your creativity and enhance your productivity. It has everything that Office does. It has a word processor, a spreadsheet program, a PowerPoint program, a database, which is not usually included with Office except for the expensive versions of it. Spreadsheet program, right? I think I said that already. But tells free open source word processor, open suite, Office suite, spreadsheets, Mac, Windows, Linux, another version of Linux, and a portable version that you can put on a thumb drive and run it in different computers. So that's all that it supports just with that one program. Then you can click here and say alternatives to it. So this is where I go and I research things when I don't know what app to use. I know the paid version I might use. I can type that in at the top and say, if I don't want to pay for that feature because I only just need it once, or maybe I want to use it all the time, type it in final alternative in the top right corner, and it'll see if it has it listed there, and I can click on it and find those lists of things. So it's a way of doing research to find programs to do what you want it to do. We did the Nanite one already. You saw those that are very popular. Those are just the most popular ones that they support for installers. Then FileHippo is a different type of version of that. For software comparisons, we can go there, and it says the latest versions of the best software. This is before Nanite, right? They've been around for a long time, and the reason why I like it is they have what's popular. You see what's going on in these different categories. You can click on them, and then it has the list of the most popular. And look, Avast Secure Browser is the most popular thing right now. VLC Media Player, I love that one too. uTorrent for BitTorrents if you want to. Free antivirus, 1, 2, 3, fourth most popular download on their site is the free antivirus Avast. I've been using it on computers for a while since I had Bitdefender slow down my computers so much. They had an update that came out. It slowed it down and ate up all my memory. So I had to uninstall it and put Avast on to protect my computer just because of the video editing I was doing. I couldn't stand to use my computer anymore. I have since gone back to Bitdefender on a couple other computers, and they've fixed the problem. But that first month or so, it was horrible. I couldn't even use my device, and they had to put up with all the complaints, right? So that's probably why Avast is pretty popular there too. But these are all different things. We can click on these these categories.
You just mentioned you used to use Bitdefender.
I still do.
It was free, wasn't it?
It still is. They have a free version, and Avast has a free version also. This one is right here. You see it says the free antivirus right there?
Saw that.
Yeah, so they have games, browsers, desktop, leisure, social messaging, multimedia. Let's click on that, right? Multimedia. Oh, the most popular ones, VLC player. Notice that it says 64-bit and 32-bit. Almost everything's going to be 64-bit these days. This is what we ran into on your device. The computer only handled 32 bits of information at a time because of the age of it. Anything over 12 years is usually 30, it would be the limit of that. Maybe it's longer than that now. Maybe more than 12 years. But that gives you a way to choose one that will work for your device. That's just one feature you need to start paying attention to. Sometimes they'll offer both versions. Make sure you know which version you have by looking at the system information of your device. I'll show you real quick on this one what that's like. Just going to type it and say, search for system, oh wait, I'll do it over here. Here we go, system info. System, type in system, oh, spell it the right way, I'm just really bad tonight. System, there we go. And the very first one is system information. Over here it says open, run as administrator, but I'm just going to click on it here. And it's going to pop up a little window here like this, and it tells me about my system. If I look down here and read about it, I see OS manufacturer, system name, the device. Look at this, system type, x64 based PC. Right there, system type. I don't have a 32-bit system. I pretty much knew I had a 64-bit, but this is how you find it. Just system information. Your phones do that too. You don't have to worry about 32-bit and 64-bit on cell phones though, just so you know. But this is desktop software, 64, 32-bit. Flash player, this is the same multimedia topic right there, right? Picasa, oh, look, it's still really popular, even though it's been discontinued for over 5 or 6 years. It's one of my favorite photo processing things that Google bought, and then they try to do it online and get rid of it. But I still have copies of it that I can put on my computers. As long as it keeps running, I'll keep using it. But yeah, some other things, Format Factory, iTunes. iTunes is going away, so this is funny that it's on there. People are trying to get it to convert their information out to use it in other systems is what they're probably using that for. Photoshop, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That Picasso, could you have the old pictures and maybe refurbish them? Does it do it?
You can clean up some stuff on it, yeah. It's a very simple way to clean up and manipulate your photos. You change the colors, get rid of red eye, change the format, the size of it, stuff like that. To search for your photos, it actually indexes and tracks them all on your computer. So if you're looking for a photo and it actually was the beginning of photo ID, where you'd type in the names of these people and it'd start tracking them and find all the photos that match that person, and you confirmed it. Are these all the same person? You say yes. And it helped them learn how to do photo ID. So there's when it's just you using it, it's powerful and it's helpful. When it's somebody else using it against you, watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix. If you can do it, watch The Social Dilemma. These tools are taking advantage of the users. You have to know the dangers of it. Just like using a bandsaw, you learn the safety things so you don't cut your fingers off, right? Same thing with social media. So, all right. So that's how we look up different things for software. Antivirus, the threat of a hacked PC. I'm not going to cover this tonight, but these are all the different things where a hacked PC can do all these different things for a hacker, and it can be automated. And there's just so many different things that they can use a system like your system for. Antivirus or malware. The terms early viruses were just to show off a hacker's skills, right? Like, oh, hey, boom, I put a flag on their screen. I was able to infiltrate their system, and here's the proof that I was there type thing. But it wasn't malicious. It didn't actually have anything that did anything dangerously. But the new stuff almost always has something that steals information, does something to your computer, or uses it to do something nefarious for other users. Viruses were first, so we use the term antivirus for software that protects us against all kinds of viruses and malware. So, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. He's going to get it for you. Yeah, Melinda. Yeah, he has to do it for me too, so you're fine. Yeah, just drop that on the ground. Malware is short for malicious software. Absolute any program or process whose purpose is harmful, even criminal. Modern malware coders beyond look at me, they're in it for money, period. It's used to either put advertising in front of you or make your computer trigger so many advertisements that they get paid money for it. There's not a lot of money in viruses or worms. So that's why we're seeing a lot of growth in malware. That's why you hear so much about it. Antivirus, you only want to use one. You don't want to have multiple antivirus programs fighting against each other. It'll just slow down your computer and may not even work. Again, all these results are used at your own risk, and they may vary. There are websites out there that show you ways to compare. Like every month, there's certain websites out there that will independently test these antiviruses. And I'm going to show a little bigger blow up here of the data, just so you can see it. And I'm going to sort it, instead of by vendor, I'm going to say it by protective value. There we go. So it's going to sort it, and I'll do it this way again. There we go. So the different softwares. The orange line here is false positives, which are things they say, oh, these are viruses, but they're not really. That's an annoying thing. So the less false positives it shows you, the better the software. But I'll put up with some false positives if they stop every virus, right? Notice at the top here, these from the red right here were the ones that were compromised. These antivirus programs let some through. And that's sad. Avast even let some through. Avast, 0.6% got through, that's big to me, but only had 2 false positives. But it blocked 99.4% of the hazards that were out there. We'll see you later, Melinda. Could you walk her out? Thank you. It's just online. So you can practice doing that, and hopefully we'll see you online. Yeah, I hope so too. God bless you, Melinda. It's so good to see you. So just looking at this, Avira covered everything. Bitdefender, 100% blocked, no compromises, but 6 false positives. That's okay, I'll put up with that. Trend Micro did a good job, and this is just for the February-March period, okay? They kind of compete with each other, and the programmers stopping viruses will go up and down as they go. But on the consistent track record, Avast and Bitdefender I've had good luck with, right? So NortonLifeLock, Kaspersky was compromised this last February month, which is unusual for them too. False positives, look how many false positives on these 3. Trend Micro, Malwarebytes, and that. I would stick to one of those 2 because of that. So yeah, you have Avira and Bitdefender and Avast. I have it on some of my systems, but it was compromised a little bit. But that means you got to watch your system, see if it's acting funny, and hopefully they'll have fixed it in a couple of days, and then it'll go back and correct itself, right?
So what do you do with this compromise and a virus shows up on your,
It'll walk you through it. It'll usually pop up and say, hey, we found some problems here.
yeah, now what do you do?
You follow their instructions. They'll have a little note pop up and say, what do you want to do with this? Do you want to isolate it, or do you want to get rid of it? And you can read the file and decide, do I want to get rid of that file, or do I want to cleanse it, quarantine it, just put it in a timeout for a little bit? You get a lot of choices, and you can research what each of those terms means, right? You can go to that company's website and say, what does this mean when it shows me this word, right, or the screen? This is just a way of evaluating the effectiveness of antivirus. And that's how I choose and how I do it to recommend to people what to use as I look at websites like this. But that's on that website, on that presentation. If you go and look at it, those are the links at the bottom there. So you can get to them and see. This one's not as good as it used to be. Almost everything's a 6, which is funny. But I disagree with some of their assumptions this last month. Here's some that I'd recommend you avoid, just because they're not. I've had many problems with McAfee, especially. If it was compromised and you couldn't uninstall it, it sometimes just froze up your whole PC. So I say stay away from McAfee no matter what. Other thing is Microsoft Security Essentials. It's not that great. It's on every computer. You can't get rid of it, but you can disable it as best you can. But I've caught it doing some nefarious stuff too. So just from my personal experience, you can use them if you want to, but if you have trouble with them, I'll just say I warned you. Malware, deep scan protection. Malwarebytes are super anti-spyware. I like Malwarebytes. Their free program for home use is enough for me. I run it once a month. And then you'll get updates from all these free software. Do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? They'll tell you that. That's fine. I'm using the free program. You can offer it to me. You know, say if I want to buy it. If I want to, I'll buy it. If I like it, I'll get rid of the nagware, that little nagging screen. I'll just update the free one each time. That's all I'm doing. And then run a scan once a month. So, but that's how you can take care of it. Yeah. Backups require, I can cover this real quickly just as a concept, okay? But we're not going to go over how to do it. But the presentation you can go through and look at home and ask questions next week, okay? The backups require a software app to do it, a device to store it on, and available space on that device, right? A physical location where you can put it also. It takes diligence because you got to do it all the time or else it's not up to date, and it takes time. So the main thing to remember about a backup is that you think 3, 2, 1. And this is why. You want to have at least 3 copies of your data, okay? Especially with the malware that's out there that will encrypt your files and hold them ransomware, right? They'll hold them, it's called ransomware, and they'll make you pay them in Bitcoin so you can't trace it, and then they might give you the key to get it back. I've even heard of a police station and a hospital that paid the ransom because they didn't have backups. They were not doing what they should do. It's sad when a police department has to pay ransom for their own data. It happens to computer techs all the time too. Plumbers' pipes are always broken sometimes, right? But you want to have 3, 2, 1. 3 copies of your data stored on 2 different mediums, right? Like thumb drive and a disk or hard drive. But that way, if one fails or you don't have a way to read it, you can take it off of the other media, right? Especially if it's over time. Sometimes some of those old storage devices aren't being used right now, like floppy disks. I have people bring me floppy disks all the time and say, I want to get a file that has a picture of my grandpa or something like that, and I got to put it in an older system of mine, take it off of that, and put it on a thumb drive or email it to them. And then they have that copy of it, right? So that's why I keep a lot of those old drives so I can use them to pull information off if I ever had to. And then the last thing of 3, 2, 1, one is keep a backup off-site. If you don't keep it off-site, it could be lost to fire or theft or flooding, you know, anything like that, natural disaster, tornado. So by keeping it off-site, you have a better chance of keeping that data. And off-site in Google's computers or somebody else's computers, you know, in the cloud, is off-site. Right? It just may take a long time to download if it's a lot of data. So that's the concept of backups, and it's really worth doing.
I remember the old days. I remember the floppy disk. I loved those things years ago. You know, and you had the hard drive and you saved it on that, and that's it.
That's about it.
I mean, that was all.
To back up a hard drive, you used a lot of floppies, is what you did. It's stacks and stacks, and if one went bad, you were in trouble. So yeah. So you have lots of options to back up.
Yeah.
You have lots of different things you can choose. There's lots of software for it too. Windows has built-in backup. I'm going to give you a warning about it. And MacRoom Reflect Flee is one of my favorites. It's a free for home and actually free for business and other low-end stuff too. It's been a godsend for me. It's helped me back up computers. I think you started using it too, where you can make an entire image backup of your hardware. And if something goes wrong, you replace the hard drive and put it back on. And it's back to working like it was. You don't have to go through installing the operating system, installing all the software, configuring all the devices. It just puts it back to the last backup that you did. Exactly like that. And then there's online and offline ideas too, right? So just backups fail. They don't always work, especially Windows backup. I've had it fail 80% of the time. And so it's frustrating. I don't trust it, I don't use it, I don't recommend it. On these slides, online, under our homework section, you can go through and look at these documents that tell you how to create a full backup disk on your PC using MacRoom Reflect. How To Geek is a good website for how to do things, and that's where these how-tos are located. How to mount a backup by that program and retrieve files. But remember, it's all at your own risk, and your results may vary, but that's how you can do a backup using that software. There's also, what do I back up and how do I do it, right? So there's a couple other documents here. What's the best way to back up your computer? Which files should you back up on your computer? How to upgrade your existing hard drive in under an hour, right? These are things that I do all the time for people for pay. But this will at least walk you through how to do these things. I can't teach you all those skills. It would be a long session if we did it. Just look at what we've covered today, right? So this cloud thing we've talked about a little bit. This is what they look like. It's not up in the cloud, it's not in the sky, it's on land, and it's a huge data warehouse. And it's protected by security guards, and it's got cages for certain companies that's storing their data there. You can't even get into their systems, right? Their technicians come in with a key and they unlock them. They're the only ones that access it. If it's Google, this is all Google controlled, right? If it's one of their data centers, you can't get in because you're not an employee that's approved to work at Google and go there, but you can store your data in there and they'll protect it and keep it backed up and try to make it available all the time with your permission that they let everybody else look at it. They'll sell it to, the rights to view it, they'll sell it to let you read through your emails and look through your pictures and figure out who you are, and they'll even sell information about you to advertise to you, right? They'll figure, this is who this person is, this is their identity. If you ever see that fingerprint swipe somewhere else, that's who it is. That's what the kind of data that they can collect on you. So the cloud is actually several data centers located around the world. So this is probably one of like 60 or 70. And your data may be stored at 3 or 4 or 5 of those at the same time. So if one goes down, you can go to the internet and it pulls it up from the one that's up. That's what the cloud is.
Is this for companies though?
Yes, companies and no personal. You too. Google is a company.
What I do with it, I mean,
Well, your emails is stored in a Google server,
okay.
right? If you have a Google account, yeah, if you have a Prime account, or if you have a Netflix account, Netflix has a bunch of data centers too where they store all their movies. You have an account there, your information is stored in their Netflix server, right?
So everybody's there.
Everybody, this is what it looks like. So this is just Google data centers around the world, look at them.
Oh, I love
And this is a while ago too. This is a while ago too. Look how many they have all over the place. In case one goes down, they back them up to, they bring others on. This is a little old, they might be, so, yeah.
If one goes down, some of the others are backed up that way.
Well, the traffic is routed to the other ones then. So it's just whatever's available, because they have to take some down for maintenance. They install the updates, then they bring them back up, and then the traffic gets routed back to those.
I don't get the cloud. I love that, the cloud thing. That would be coming from me. Why do they call that the cloud?
Because we upload it to the other computer. And so it's this thing that's supposed to be all around all the time and available. Well, clouds are above the earth and they're always around.
Yeah.
They just may be located somewhere else in the world at a certain time, right? So that's why they call it that. So new skills. This is your homework. PC maintenance for beginners from How to Geek School. It's an excellent write-up. Go through, read it. There's a shortcut for it when you click on the homework tab. You remember that on our website, right? When we click and go to our website, we go to techforlife.com. You click up here on homework. It shows all the presentations, and here's the computer maintenance one. And let's see here, PC maintenance for beginners. You click on it, it'll take you to that web page. Lesson: don't spend money cleaning your own PC is easy, right? Don't spend money. I like that advice right away. So there's 5 documents there to teach you about how to do kind of what we've talked about today. And they're good. I like How to Geek. They're one of my favorite sites in the world. But yeah, that's how you can get in there, and that's your homework for the week. Read any of those 5 lessons. Send me the email answer with those 3 questions. It's real simple. Just send me an email to that homework at Tech for Life. And remember, that's what comes up. If you can't find that at Tech for Life, you click on it here, the presentation, right? Under presentations, computer maintenance, it'll go right to that screen. Yeah, sure. I'm sorry.
One of these days, I'm gonna get me some decent glasses.
Yeah. It'll be in that presentation that you can look up online too,
Okay.
right? Because it's also on your thing right here.
Okay.
Right.
So just pull that up, it'll be there.
See, it's right there. You can magnify that, or like to use your smartphone, zoom in. Remember how we did that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's right, I do remember that.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, guys. You're welcome. I'm glad to. Yeah, I hope it helps. Yeah. Like I said, take a little bit at a time. Try something. Ask questions next week. Yeah, you guys have a great week. We'll see you guys online later. Thank you. Hey, James. I said goodbye. All right.
So there's really no class in here, but it'll be the week, in 2 weeks, we'll have class.
In here, exactly.